Hey, what's up? It's Pepper out here. I'm out here at Black Diamond Studios, ready for another session. And tonight, I have Josh Cuplin. Wow, Jesus.
Thanks for having me, Pep.
Thanks for coming out. So Cup, Sippy Cup is what we used to call him a little bit. But Cup here is one of our guest vocalists for the upcoming record, NOVOCAINE Mutiny. We just got done laying down his tracks, and they are pretty badass. I mean, I'm not saying that just because he's sitting next to me. He added in some of his own flares, which is what you expect from another artist. But anyone who's known Cuplin for a long time and seen him sing at karaoke and other things knows what he brings to the table. So hopefully that gets you a little excited about this record and what's to come. And we have a lot more awesome guest artists to join on. But personally, I've known Josh for about, wow, calling you Josh is weird. But I've known you for about 5-6 years.
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah, we met through the karaoke scene.
Yep.
Which is always, when you explain that to people, sometimes from not around here, that boggles them a little bit. Because the idea of how karaoke can do something like that is a little bit...
It's a community. It's a big community effort. We always try to push and bring people out and get people to join in and do it.
It really is. And it's not maybe as it used to be. I mean, I know we don't hang out as much. And sometimes just life happens and we kind of grow up. And I hate to say grow up, but we grow into different lives. So maybe we don't get out as much, but, one of the things, I'm glad you mentioned that, and because one of the questions I've gotten, and no, you've gotten them, we've been kind of solicited together, is people ask me a lot, is why do I stick with JD so much? Why am I so loyal to him specifically? And most people assume it's because he's my father-in-law, which
that's a big part of it.
Actually,
but not any. I wouldn't say so anymore. Yeah.
But actually, even before that, wouldn't be. And here's the reason why, if I may, I stick with JD. It's not the quality of the sound or anything. That's all small parts. A big part is this. So you're here tonight doing guest vocals on this album, right?
Correct.
A couple of weeks, RJ is going to be doing his.
Yep.
And where did I meet you two at? How did I get to know you?
Karaoke.
I'm out here recording at Black Diamond with Mark and Deborah.
Well, so you met at karaoke.
You're getting track here. The people who pushed me to kind of shit or get off the pot, the guys from Peer Inertia, mainly AJ and Mikey, they were the ones who really kind of drove me from hobby to trying it out. And those guys, the inspiration there. And even then, AJ I met through
karaoke.
And let's not forget the most important one, my wife.
Yeah. Who's
also singing on this record, by the way, another guest vocalist. But my wife, and of course my daughter in hindsight with that now, but even my wife, through virtually karaoke, through this family, and even JD himself is doing music on this record for me.
Yep.
So why do I stick loyal to him? It's because so much more than I could ever dreamed of happening has happened because of it. I was in a really bad spot when I first started coming out, and it took me a while to get out, but everything I have that I'm so grateful for, and the dreams I've gotten to accomplish that I never thought, is because of this community. That's why I'm loyal. I don't mean to get on my start. I'll get myself out against the topic, but it's one of those things that's important to realize is loyalty goes more than just family sometimes. There's reasons behind it. And I owe a lot to JD, but also just what that program at one point brought. I mean, even if I'm not out as much anymore, there's still a big sense of gratitude.
Oh, yeah.
That being said, you have karaoke beginnings. You've done a lot of singing. You've done a lot of performing before, a lot more than I ever have. You perform with friends in the live open mics and stuff.
Yeah,
I think this is... I don't know your password. I think this might be your first time recording on an album, or have you done it before?
This would be the first time I've done recording on an album. I've done voice acting. I've done recording for game studio stuff, but that's about it.
So, and the thing about recording, like anything, they talk about you have to start from the bottom and work your way up. Well,
correct.
Welcome there. You're at the bottom. So, you literally get to start at the bottom. You know exactly what that means.
Yep.
So, welcome there, for you get to join this prep. But that being said, you've done a lot of live stuff. And now you're coming in to record. So what would you say is like the biggest, I won't say difference, but like maybe what you're expecting to come in, what was harder, what was easier than you expected to be? What was like something that you caught was just a different monster?
The biggest thing for me is obviously because this isn't my music that I'm creating and writing, it's yours as the director and part producer and everything. Obviously, I add a little bit of flair of my own to it, but I want to stay true to what you want. And obviously, we've had a little sit down and talks here and there about it. But we never really sat down and practiced heavily until tonight. So it allowed me to see what you wanted while also trying to bend and mend in my own style and what I can do to help.
Yeah.
And that was probably the biggest hurdle for us tonight.
Right. And it's true. When you're recording your own stuff, it's easier. And when you're recording someone else's, you're trying to fit in within their parameters. But I try. And with RJ and other guest vocalists coming up, Adrian and Caitlin as well, I try to give them some freedom because they got to be comfortable. But it's also, while it's my message to a degree, it's their voice they're putting to it. So you want to have respect for that. They're giving up their time and effort to help you on something that they have no obligation to fucking do.
Yeah.
And so there's a give and take there. But, and just for a side note, he did come in tonight and really add some different things. For me, I have to pull back too.
Yeah.
I have to be willing to go, wait, that's not what I thought this was going to be. But instead of hearing it from my point of view, I have to hear it from the point of view of, well, but does it sound good? Does it work? And everything I didn't change up for the most part because I'm like, well, you know what? That works. And in fact, this is something I wouldn't be able to come up with. It makes it better. And it's cool. So, but yeah, so you got to record out here and lay down tracks. Now, you were here when I did Billfold back in the day, the first one. Now, you didn't record on it.
No.
But you were around for that.
Correct.
And now, in hindsight, I wish I would have, I really wish I would have opened up an opportunity back then. And you might still get an opportunity to appear on that album. I have an opportunity to travel through time.
Oh, boy.
You think I'm kidding, but I have a way.
I know.
We'll discuss it afterwards.
We've been there.
I actually have an option. I actually will discuss to you how we're going to do that.
Okay.
But, but that being said, you're kind of are aware of it, at least.
Yes.
And now you've heard glimpses of this through your own demos and some of the other ones I showed you. I'm not saying you can compare the two necessarily, but from what you kind of, I can't say experience, but knew from the first album to now, what would you say is like some of the differences or some of the different experiences you're kind of getting?
Well, I mean, looking at what you did with Billfold kind of built a lot of groundwork. You had a lot of different sounds and tones to what you were trying to present, and I think from what I've heard out of this so far, it's a continuation, but it's a redevelopment at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to kind of see you go back to that and redo things.
Yeah, and one thing, just when you're a writer or any kind of creator, you're also a audience.
Yeah.
You have to be. And for me, I think this album's a little bit more solid. It's not as flared up. The first album had a lot of flair to it. I had a lot of songs that were a little bit creative, sometimes way too creative. And it caused it to be sometimes, you can tell someone's trying too hard.
Yeah.
This album, I took a step back and let the music speak for itself. Even if it's not the most creative thing, it's solid, it sounds good. More people are going to react to that than something that's, really creative but kind of messy. And I learned a lot of that from the last album. Another thing I learned from the last album compared to tonight, this album, is not rushing it.
Yeah.
Last album, there's one song in there specifically, if not a couple, that we tried to band-aid and mask, and because we were facing a deadline.
Yeah, you're big, because at that time you were getting ready to move. You had a lot of life stuff coming up, and because of that, you wanted to get it out.
And with this album, one of the songs you sang tonight, we're going to talk about in a second really fast, I showed you a demo of, and me and Mark decided, no, we're going to go back and make sure that this is really solid. And I thought, from the first two demos I've ever laid out to what we got, it substantially got better. And we still have some work to do on it, but we took the time to not say, well, that's good enough. No, how good can you get it? And it's also a critique and a push for you as a creator to go, I know my limits, I know what I can do.
Yes.
So let's stretch for that instead of just being satisfied with, well, we're trying to make a deadline. I'd love to get this record out soon, but I'd rather get a good record out than a sloppy one quick.
Yeah.
So that being said, you did 3 tracks for us tonight.
Correct.
Which were, do you know them?
Your Empire Burning, Gray, and Showdown.
See, you're good. JD didn't know his one track that he recorded.
Listen, I spent time to make sure I was semi-prepared for tonight.
So you did all 3. What would you say of the 3, the one you're most excited about, if any of them?
I like them all. I think, in all honesty, the attitude and atmosphere for Showdown really makes me a little more excited about everything else. Your Empire Burning is also really good. And Gray was a lot of fun to sing because obviously it's one that I had a lot of time and effort to put into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Showdown's going to be the biggest one just because it's a collaborative effort across the board for everyone.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I like about Showdown and Your Empire, is they're both a mixture of different voices, which makes me excited. Showdown is going to be awesome. You'll hear more about that one, but that song is if it lands the way it's supposed to go land, I think it's going to be awesome. But yeah, I thought all three were fantastic. I'm excited about Your Empire for no other reason than the fact that it's one that I've been fighting for. Literally, I wrote it in 2012.
Yeah.
So for 7 years, almost 8 years, I've been fighting that song to try to make it work. Even up until tonight, we were still working it out. And so to see how it's come along, and even the re-record of it, tonight was your first time hearing the finished version and how much smoother it was. That's the first thing listening to it. Even tonight, I realized, well, like, I was stunned about how smooth it was listening. I'm like, I was not expecting these parts to be on time. I'm like, wow, this is actually right.
even when we got to the first step of recording it, we kind of took a step back and we said, okay, what are we doing here? What do we need to actually do to make this work? And
that's where it's good to have not just two, but a producer, Mark. I give him a lot of shout outs here, but Mark does an amazing job of steering people in the right direction. He's just a brilliantly gifted musician that I wish I could be 1,000 times over. Just he's so damn good. And I talked about this with JD's session, which is I've learned with him when he says something is good. I'll repeat this. He's not lying to us. He's not trying to ruin our careers or our hobbies or what we're trying to do. He's not trying to blow smoke up your ass. When he says it's good, you got to trust that.
Yeah.
It can be hard because you have that vision in your head. Like, I don't think it was. He's going, no, it's good. And that's where like tonight he comes in really good handy. Like, I'm good with it, and that's usually my cue. I've learned to trust him now. Where if you're good with it, I'm good with it. Yeah. And plus, he's a wizard with mixing, so he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. You have posts. You always have posts, and you can't forget about that.
So, really quick, this video's going on, which is totally cool. I wanted to talk about really fast something that you've been doing recently, a lot actually. And this last week you actually held a big event for it. So you've been doing, I believe it's called Extra Life.
Yes.
You want to explain that just really briefly, what that is and what you're doing?
So what Extra Life is, it's a charity event that's held every single year. And what they do is they try to get anticipation for it from the very beginning of the year all the way up to the day that they hold the actual event. This past weekend, we did a 24-hour marathon where we streamed live us playing games, talking, having a good time to try and generate revenue to help put this money towards the Children's Miracle Network of hospitals.
Wow.
My personal charity goes to Chicago. It goes to the Ann and Lori Hughes Children's Hospital of Chicago. We raised $300 this past weekend.
Yeah.
My goal was $500. The thing is that even though there is a goal, it's not about making the goal. It's not about getting anything in return from this. It's about making the money and putting it towards something good.
And that's what's phenomenal about having a couple on board with this is you find people who it's good to have hobbies, but when you can find a way to give back. And choosing Lurie Hospital is a fantastic thing. So you said you're about 200, but now is the over? Do you still have a few days left?
So the charity is open until January 14th, and then once that charity window closes, they move forward to 2020 and start opening everything up for 2020.
So what that means is there's still time to help out. So for the 5 of you who watch this video, if you want more information on how to do that, there's going to be a link that's going to be posted somewhere here, right here in editing. And what you can do is you can follow that link and you can find a way to give. Even if it's just $1, there's no pressure to put a big stamp on it. It's just a way you can help just push pay it forward a little bit.
Yep.
You know, charity can be hard, but when you have people who put a lot of effort in, and I know Josh and his friends did a lot this weekend to try to kind of take some of the brunt of that.
Yeah.
And so it's good to reward that. So that being said, another thing I want to talk about with that, though, is I also really care about helping people. And Cup's one person who does a lot, like with this album. He's been a good friend of mine. So something else to know is that with the upcoming record release and everything that comes with that, so the release of NOVOCAINE Mutiny, any sales we have from here until pretty much I say stop, which I don't know when that's going to be.
Yeah.
But anything we sell, that means online, CDs, I don't know, the billfold re-release, T-shirts, anything that we get any kind of revenue from for Here Burns Down. I say me, but we collectively. 50% of the proceeds of that are going to be going to Cuplin and for that gang for them to use to donate or to use as they need to make donations happen. So that means setting up another a live play or something. So that hopefully encourages you guys to go out and realize that your money that you put down for this record is not going to my pocket. It's going to hopefully help others out. Now, again, if some of you guys, well, what if I just want to donate the money and not buy your stupid album? Then again, go to this link right here. You can just pay him directly instead of worry about the music. But
it's going to go directly to it, regardless of what it is. I had a buddy of mine not really want to donate directly because he wanted to help support the stream and make it go longer, so he bought a video game for the stream.
There we go.
I paid that $60 that he put towards the game back into the charity fund. So.
And that's awesome. So again, half of all the proceeds from the pretty much almost for next year about, I don't have a timeline at this point, but for anything Burns Down related is going to be going towards that program, because I have personal experiences. My nephew spent time in Wisconsin at Children's Hospital when he had his bowel almost ripped out of him. And even my daughter was in a Children's Hospital, but she was in the NICU for 2 weeks after she was born. These are programs people don't realize how much they do until you're someone who's a recipient of their care. And then it becomes real just about how gracious it is, and you realize that people like Cuplin here, like Arthur and people in his crew, give and help make that happen. So again, hopefully that as you listen to this album coming out and you hear what's going on, you in the back of your head realize that there's something else going behind the scene with it that helps others out. This isn't just about making music; it's about art reaching out and impacting lives. So that being said, you can hear more about that, and you can hear Cup's parts, and you get to hear all the other guest vocalists with the upcoming release. I still don't have a solid release date, hopefully by the end of the year, but we'll have more information on that. But again, Cup, thanks for coming out and adding some life to this, and I look forward to seeing what we end up with.
I look forward to hearing it.
I hope you do.